At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Optimal Health Daily. Fitness Meal Plans. Why I Don't Make Them by Deen of JCDfitness.com. And I'm Dr. Neil, your very own personal narrator. Hey there, happy Saturday and welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, or OHD, where I act as your narrator of popular health and fitness blogs and always provide a bit of my commentary at the end. Now don't forget, we have a bunch of shows covering different topics. Just search for Optimal Living Daily in any podcast app to find all of them. But with that, let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. Fitness Meal Plans. Why I Don't Make Them by Deen of JCDfitness.com. Fitness meal plans or pre-made diets are something I've strayed from for the longest time, and I can't imagine I'll ever give in to creating them for clients. A few common questions I get on a weekly basis are, what do you eat? What do I need to eat to lose weight? Can you make me a personal fitness meal plan? Or something in a similar vein. While the questions are not necessarily bad, they're just not the right questions, in my opinion. First of all, I'll just be outright with it. I hate meal plans. I hate them so much that when I see one written out by another trainer, or even when I scan some forums and see someone posting their meal plan, I conjure up feelings of dismay. In saying that, I want to give some explanation on why I'm not a meal plan kind of guy and what I believe to be a better alternative. There are two main reasons I do not prescribe a fitness meal plan. One, they are restrictive, and two, they make us stupid. Fitness meal plans are restrictive. Often, I believe we get into this mindset that there is one way to get things done, and subsequently, we feel that those with the best physiques or the best trainers must have a golden meal plan that made them look the way they do. I've fallen into this trap before. Way back when I was scouring all the magazines, I wanted to know exactly what my heroes were eating. Then I wanted to emulate this pattern because it was obviously their key to success. However, when I did this, I began to notice just how restrictive my relationship with food became. Since my favorite bodybuilder wasn't eating egg yolks in his scrambled eggs, neither did I. Instead of having a few bananas for breakfast, I always opted for oatmeal because that's what he was having. Over time, I realized that I was never straying from this meal plan, and my diet became quite boring and even deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. So even though in principle, there was nothing wrong with me having different types of foods for my meals, even with a similar macronutrient breakdown, I subconsciously thought my results wouldn't be as good. Another example is a friend of mine here in town. She competes in pageants, and as she was preparing for her last one, her trainer gave her a meal plan that included fish and broccoli for her dinner meal. For 6 whole months, her dinners, for the most part, were always fish and broccoli. When I asked her why, she simply said it was the meal plan her trainer gave her. He never explained that it was just an example meal and that it was interchangeable. Heck, he may never have intended it to be interchangeable, and if this was the case, something is crazy wrong with this situation. Who's to say she couldn't have some red meat and potatoes for dinner every once in a while, or even some fruit and dairy, like pork or cottage cheese, as long as her daily macronutrient targets were met? In my opinion, fitness meal plans like this can be very restrictive due to our nature of attempting to stick with the plan. And this leads me to the second point. Meal plans make us stupid. I don't mean this in a derogatory sense. I don't believe following a meal plan is really making us stupid, but I do believe they keep us in the dark, so to speak. They keep us from learning how to eat and prepare meals for the long term. If someone is always telling you what to do and how to do it, you have no reason to do any further investigation, no real reason to actually learn anything. And this is a major problem. What happens when you decide you aren't going to work with the trainer any longer, or that you can't afford the services anymore? Or what if they just get sick of you and decide to fire you? Then what? Most people will revert back to their old habits, and their current fitness levels or accomplishments will deteriorate. In this case, you just spent all this time and effort getting results, but because you failed to learn what was actually going on, you can't do it for yourself. In reality, there's nothing special about a meal plan. The magic is found in setting a macronutrient goal and staying within those calorie parameters. This is why I never ever make a meal plan. I always give macronutrient guidelines and recommend that my people hit those macros on a daily basis, regardless of meal timing or composition. The purpose of macronutrient guidelines. If a person is accustomed to meal plans and not used to creating meals that fit within their macronutrient targets, the thought of this can seem rather daunting, but the learning curve is relatively short. And guess what? Once you figure out how to create meals on the fly that fits within your macronutrient targets, you'll never ever need another meal plan again. Also, you'll no longer be forced to eating the same foods day in and day out, unless you're like me and actually prefer uniform eating. I found that most people prefer their diet to be somewhat varied though. Keeping it simple. The only thing you need to know essentially is how to track your intake accurately. After that, set aside some extra time to make some meals and fit them into your macronutrient guidelines as best as you can. It's never going to be 100% perfect. Some days you'll have more carbs, on other days more fat. Sometimes you might undershoot protein by 5 to 10 grams. In the end, as long as you're consistently getting close to your macronutrient goals and staying within the recommended amounts, you'll hit your mark, I promise. Remember, just because I'm not a fan of meal plans doesn't mean they don't work or aren't effective for some people. I'm all about educating people to be independent and to think for themselves, so the idea of making meal plans just doesn't make sense to me for the long term, but it is just advice. You just listened to the post titled, Fitness Meal Plans, Why I Don't Make Them by Deen of JCDfitness.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary. Between my busy schedule and trying to keep up with summer plans, finding time for healthy meal prep can feel like a constant battle. Factor can help with tasty, chef-prepped meals that are dietitian approved and delivered right to your door. They make it easy to support your wellness goals with a variety of over 65 weekly meals. Plus, you can get premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp without any extra cost. They've also introduced new Mediterranean diet options, which are packed with protein and healthy fats, alongside bold, new Asian-inspired meals with flavors from China, Thailand, and more. If I wasn't already meal prepping weekly myself, it's what I'd use. Eat smart at factormeals.com/OHD50off and use code OHD50off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code OHD50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
Dr. Neal here for my commentary. You may have just heard that post and thought, Wait a second. Dr. Neal, why would you read this post? You always talk about how important it is to meal plan, and today's post completely goes against your own advice. Was JC saying that we should never plan our meals? No. Instead, what JC was saying is that we don't need to be so restrictive in our eating habits that we have to perfectly follow a meal plan we were given by someone else to meet our goals. If we're given a meal plan and told to follow it exactly, we may not actually learn much about what truly works for us, and we may end up limiting our food intake and limiting our foods to the point where we no longer enjoy those foods and maybe end up with nutrient deficiencies. But planning our meals with some flexibility, and meals that include a variety of foods is something JC and I would definitely agree on, and we would probably agree that we should all be doing. Because meal planning can help us make sure we're consuming a balanced diet with a variety of foods. And after all, those are the guidelines that most health professionals recommend anyways. All right, that'll do it for today. I hope you're having a great weekend if you're listening in real time. And of course, I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.